the beginning of the food pantry started because of there were just needs we heard of that needed to be met. And there's so many people that were so ashamed to ask for help that we just wanted to be a safe place. And I think it was really important that Door of Life was absolute on a couple things. And one of the things is there's no condemnation. So there is no condemnation in needing a little bit of help. And that was really how we started it, and that's how we're going to keep it. And we started by, of course, just having food available, and if people needed it, they contacted us and we gave them food. And then there was a situation, and it was a single father who was asking for help. It took him a long time to ask for it. He called and hung up a few times. I could tell he was completely ashamed, very uncomfortable, and it was awkward for him. And I talked to Pastor Ed about it and verified that it would be fine. I packed up food for him and we left it out in the foyer. And he came and picked it up. And that is how we started doing our 24/7 Help Yourself Food Pantry. We thought, we kind of were surprised by what a great idea that was, like, let's do it. So we started really small by putting a bookshelf out there and putting food out there and letting people know that they could help themselves. And although there have been a glitch here or there, it's never been a consistent problem. And I think that it has grown into such an entity of its own. And we have gotten so much support from the community. We've seen a couple other churches kind of pick up on it and try to duplicate it, and I think some of them are still doing that. It's always open, and it is always changing. We get so much traffic. The neighbors have asked if we are aware of how much traffic. Once it gets dark, it absolutely comes to life in there. And I think it's important that Door County serves the people who couldn't go to a food pantry between 10 and 2. I think that, we're taking care of people who are hardworking people who are working 2 and 3 jobs, and sometimes they can't come until after their third shift, or sometimes they have to come at midnight. And I think it's also important that we, there's some really proud people. The needs can be really cleverly hidden, and we don't want anyone to go without. When COVID hit, something supernatural happened, and we went from a very well-supplied food pantry to a storehouse that was so overflowing that we had to clear out the Sunday school room and turn that into a storeroom, because the community started pouring food into us. Cases and cases and cases of food without anyone asking for anything. People started just every day bringing more food and more food. And what we had going on in that food pantry at a time of lack in the world, in the natural, we had such provision that we had people who had never in their life needed a food pantry or thought they'd go to a food pantry, because we had what they couldn't get at the store, no matter how much money they had. So some people had to come to Door of Life for their toilet paper. They had to, and it was an incredible experience. It was so supernatural to watch it and to be a part of it. It was mind-boggling. And although that the COVID part has seemed to have really quieted down, the donations and the influence in this community has not. We became part of a coalition up here, and we receive even more from that. We have got some power behind us so that we can buy things bulk, and we're tapped into things. Last week, I gave out 150 Badger boxes, and each Badger box had like Newski's bacon and summer sausage in it, and then there was a gallon of milk and grass-fed ground beef and eggs and cheese, and it's fabulous. And it's just for the community. It's just, here it is. And it's such seed. I'm really calling it seed for the community. And we're just sowing into Door County however we can. We're sowing into the people, these old farmers who sowed into Door County all their life, these old construction workers who built Door County. We're taking care of them. And it's humbling to be a part of.